Welcome. Geez, I messed that one up. Welcome everybody to Live at the Hive, digital marketing from the trenches. I am a semi-sick Dan Nadelko fighting off the germs that my lovely children have imbued upon my house. Welcome to Live at the Hive, episode 202, digital marketing from the trenches.
And I'm Stacey DeSantis. I saw I was muted.
And I'm Ivan Ivanovich.
And today we are talking about that time of the year again. We've done this every year, I think, for the past now, what is it, 4 years? Is this year 4? My brain's not working. Black Friday, Cyber Monday is just around the corner, which is the official kickoff to the Christmas frenzy. So today we're going to be talking about strategies and tactics that you can use, even if you're a small business, to fight against the big giants in the sky hurling lightning bolts at each other, like Google and Amazon and Wayfair and Walmart. There are strategies that you can use as a small business to attract new customers and retain new customers. We're going to have a whole bunch of very useful tips for you as well. And I just want to do a special shout out to Ivan, because he's actually on a vacation day and took time out of his vacation day to join Live at the Hive. So, yes, that gets you. Very well, sir. Love it. Love it. All right. So before we get diving into everything here, there we go. Hello, Pippa. Welcome, welcome. We'll wait for everybody, the teeming masses, to stream on in here before we dive into what's new this week. Any of you have any big holiday? It's not a holiday for us, but it is Halloween.
Mm-hmm. No.
That's it. Not even trick-or-treating?
Yeah, handing out candy, I suppose, but it's not till Monday, really, right? So, yeah.
Monday or Sunday? I think it's Sunday.
It's Sunday. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah.
That has been a topic around my household, that it is Sunday, so it is the perfect day. All right. Courtney is here and saying, Yvonne, I love your outfit. We all do. Very well done, sir.
So much.
Very well done. Okay. All right. So let's dive right into it. And we're starting off with... Instagram has got a bunch of big updates, but Yvonne, I'll throw this one over to you, sir.
Yeah, so Instagram has finally done it. They've finally moved on to desktop. So I know a lot of people weren't able to ever, you can't upload photos, you can't do anything with that. So you'd always have to go to your mobile device, which is kind of what they wanted to do. And they're finally allowing people to start uploading photos and videos that are less than 1 minute long, those ones to desktop. So now you'll be able to actually use it. But they will not right now include stories or reels. So hopefully at a later date, they may do that. But for right now, it is just desktop. And I know as a marketer, it's a little bit easier having that having it on desktop, because we work so much from it, that instead of just going right to your phone. So it's actually a really cool feature.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a huge deal for social media managers, because you've been forced to really kind of to jump around with your, like, literally with a mobile device, to actually get all of the features out of the platform. I doubt that they're gonna let stories be produced on the desktop. It would be cool if they did, but that is still TBD. But definitely, yeah. So for social, I mean, I know that both of you probably spend a lot of time using your own phones and other devices to post content in schedules, and it can be pretty chaotic when that's happening.
Yeah, I get a lot of notifications that I don't have any room on my phone storage.
Yes.
Speaking, because we're constantly doing that. So anytime I think that they can make a platform a little bit more accessible and easier for us to use it in different ways is a win-win, really.
Yeah, and we natively post so much on Instagram that maybe having that desktop version is going to make it just that much easier for us to get all that content out that we want to.
But come on, Instagram, the extra cherry on this Sunday. Let's do it for stories and reels too. That would be really amazing. Yeah. I tend to use more reels than feed videos now. So you know?
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And that's we'll talk a little bit about that with new features, but one of the things, like shorts on YouTube and now what are effectively duets on YouTube, this when those new features come out, that's when you want to be jumping on it, because if you think about, I actually watched a really good live stream last night from a fellow called Devin Nash, who talks a lot about live streaming specifically, but he made a really great point that you've got a couple billion users on YouTube, just as an example. When a new feature comes out, very few people actually use it, but you still have access to that entire audience. When the platform is pushing that feature through to all of their users, and that's how, very recently, as an example on YouTube, new YouTubers have been minted that way. So these aren't small deals, right? And so one other point about this on Instagram is quite simply that Instagram is fighting TikTok in ways that are very atypical to Instagram. We've got another story here about some other features that Instagram has pointed out and will be releasing. But a lot of this has to do with a way to fight TikTok. And one of the biggest ones is the garden wall around the platform, trying to keep you in as opposed to letting you go out. I feel like this is a little bit of that coming to fruition for sure.
Yeah. And I wanted to point out there, as you can see, so you could always post on desktop on Instagram, but you had to go through the inspect view and then go to your mobile view, which is not very convenient for a lot of people, having to, go around it just to do a post. And it was and it was still there was a few little things that were bugs in there that were kind of hard to get over anyway. So it wasn't that great, but it is worth noting that it was doable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, if you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, this I believe is the third or fourth stream on Twitch. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, throw us a bit if we're talking Twitch. Definitely ask questions. We are all here to answer your questions and talk about this good time stuff.
Exactly.
All right. So next up, so Facebook has outlined a multi-year plan to rebuild targeting systems. As growth slows, yes, that's one thing for sure. And like it's not anything to sneeze at. So here's April's got a comment, and this is also a good one. I always end up making typos when posting IG for myself, so moving to desktop is great. Yeah, I think just to circle back on that one as well. It's just, if you're doing this for a living and it's part of your profession, doing this all day doesn't feel necessarily exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. And, we've all fell victim to the autocorrect on our phones. Where you meant to say one thing and there's like, oh, you meant to say this? And
Absolutely. All right, so let's dive back into this so that we don't start at 5 to 5 like we did last week.
Yeah, so Facebook is definitely feeling the effects of the popularity of TikTok and, the restrictions of Apple iOS. So, here's that they're going to be digging their feet in and looking for more innovative ways, as they call it, to retool or attract, new young users. They're doing everything from adding a creator fund to rebuilding their targeting and optimization systems. So this article just kind of walks you through that.
Yeah. If I start coughing and I go mute, someone will take over for me as I'm trying not to cough on the entire podcast. But just last week, we had the Facebook papers, and then we've got the Jedi Blue scandal, which is actually pretty important as far as collusion and monopolistic behaviors go from these big companies. But more realistically, I think that Facebook sees the writing on the wall that government regulation is coming from tracking. The Facebook Pixel will probably go away or change substantially in terms of how it works. And so this all goes in line with our one of our favorite topics, which is Facebook Meta. But, Facebook is looking to diversify, avoid government regulation, avoid a monopolistic breakup, and just really avoid the government as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about those Q3 results, rebuilding targeting and optimization systems to work with less data. That's a little bit debatable. We can talk about that when we talk about Facebook Meta, because when you start talking about a metaverse, specifically more an Oculus Rift type thing, you're talking about eye movements, you're talking about emotional reactions, you're getting a whole lot less meta than what we currently have, which are, device cues that can be used. So it'll be interesting to see here. There's a lot of clear, this article talks about a clear driver for a shift in thinking. I think there's a lot more than one clear driver. It sounds like it's about 6 or 7 different clear drivers. So this is going to be a time of very big changes over the next year or two for Facebook. And as such, I think it's important, whether you're in marketing or you're in business, to really keep an eye on what's happening, how these platforms are going to change, where the opportunities are going to come up, because what we've gone from is this kind of hyper growth to a couple of years, 2 to 3 years of this kind of sustainable power that, the Facebook advertising platform more specifically has had. And it's going to change again. And that's going to bring a whole ton of different opportunity. And these guys, all these businesses are going to be chasing each other.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I also think it's interesting when you look at it from, especially with all the headlines that Facebook has had recently, how they're kind of steering away from any kind of regulation. So social in itself is becoming more and more regulated. It's getting questioned more and more by the Congress. And with those new restrictions, it's interesting that Facebook is now looking to the metaverse, which is essentially a brand new thing that isn't regulated. And how can we be the first there to almost exploit it in a way? So
I don't think that, to be honest, I don't think Facebook's going to have the long leash that they've had from regulators, in particular European regulators, who are
for sure.
classically the most strict of all. All right, moving right along. A couple of quick Twitter updates. Twitter's launching Spaces recording for some hosts. And also, oh, that's a TikTok one. I thought it was another Twitter one. That's okay. Yes, but Twitter Spaces seems to be one of the features that TikTok is sticking with. I think we talked about last week how some of the features are a little, they got themselves to a point where they were releasing and rolling back a lot of different features. And I think a lot of their bigger creators that could use this and people on the platform had actually kind of shied away from using it. And so it feels like they're doubling down. So Spaces looks to be something that they're going to continue to go with. And taking it to the next level is Spaces recording to select hosts. Again, this is only for iOS. And you can see some of the screenshots here. It's one of those things where Clubhouse, one of the problems with Clubhouse, which this is, and I do believe this, I do believe that Clubhouse is a feature, not a product, just in terms of what it's for. And Spaces is going to be a big part, I think, of the Twitter platform moving forward in terms of what it is and how people can use it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool too to be able to record these pieces now, because people can repurpose the content. They mentioned in the article, you can use it as a clip in a podcast, so on and so forth. The only challenges or headwinds they might be running into is privacy concerns again, because how do you handle it if you record someone's voice? What can you legally then repost or use if someone has not signed a waiver of some kind? So
I want to propose a couple of things for Twitter. So Jack, my buddy, no, Jack Dorsey,
Mr. Dorsey,
he's probably on a Himalayan mountain somewhere doing.
Yeah, he's my kind of dude. He's got
a getaway. He actually looks like, just a sidebar, he does look like the real life embodiment of the Mandarin from classic comics, the way that his beard is. Anyways, Iron Man villain, don't worry about it. A couple of points. One, that could be solved easily via the TOS, that if you join a Twitter space, then you give up the rights to your voice and to your recording. Licensing could be solved by what TikTok has done, if there were other sounds in there. Lastly, what I would propose to Twitter, take those spaces and enable podcast functionality. That would be a game changer for Twitter, where you could actually host a space and that could be published to your podcast as kind of a different format for your podcast. But that's just me, you know.
All
trying to
really
help
great
the-
ideas. Just makes me worried. Dan, don't go to Twitter on us. We
I
need
don't
you.
think that's there's a high likelihood of that happening, but you never know.
I don't know. You
All
got some
right.
pretty awesome ideas.
I do. I've been known for having decent ideas in the past. So you never know. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. All right. So this is our favorite one of the week. In the middle of the crisis. Now, I got a lot of comments here. This is what we did. We did call it. So the Facebook app is not changing its name, just so everyone is clear. I know that had come up. Twitter is just, anyways, a crazy place all day today. And I don't know that, like many companies in trouble before it, Facebook is changing its name and logo. So Google did this several years ago with Alphabet. This was a natural evolution. This was probably going to happen anyways. The timing's probably not the best in terms of all the things coming at Facebook all at the same time, with all of these documents being released and everything. And yeah, so I'm sure that a branding agency or someone, the overriding consensus here is LOL, the logo. Yeah.
Yeah.
My completely inappropriate take on this, it looks like the infinity symbol had a stroke. That's probably not politically correct to say. I see what they're trying to do there. But I did see a couple of different people relating this to, goodness, maybe the folks at WebEx are not too happy about the fact that it feels like their logo. That's one. Secondly, anyways, not to get into this whole branding thing.
But you're not wrong. Like the whole piece, like as soon as I heard it, it completely lacks creativity for something that is supposed to be so futuristic and, forward thinking. Metaverse. It's like, I don't know. We were talking about Twitter today and how people were making fun of it, and Wendy's wanted to just call it burger. Like, like there's no real, WebEx, the logo, Metaverse, like at least Google went with Alphabet. You can kind of see the synergy there. You can search everything from A to Z or A to Z, however you say it. But I don't know. I don't know who got the gold star for that one, but
yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think a couple of comments that came out of the live stream from Mark Zuckerberg was, and this is a good point, is there was this notion that Facebook was like the parent of WhatsApp and Instagram. It's not actually the case. They are separate apps and divisions. Now, obviously, Zuckerberg is the chairman of the board, has all the voting control rights. He's the final person that does make the decisions, which is very unusual inside a company that size, but that is what it is. And so to differentiate themselves, yeah, like what Google had done with Alphabet is basically say we're more than just search. Yes, there's Google, and yes, there's YouTube, both of which are search engines, the number 1 and number 2 search engines in the world. But they're doing self-driving cars. They're still doing machine vision. There's all sorts of stuff. And so none of that is uncommon. I think the focus here on this metaverse being brought to life, it's interesting. It's definitely going to be part of the future. Is Facebook going to be the one bringing it to everybody, given all of the issues they have with privacy and then how deeply that metaverse goes in? Yeah, it's it's really bleeding edge. They do have Oculus, and the new segment of Facebook, it's reporting separately, and they're going to really be pushing this in line with Oculus technology. And the question is, will it only be for Oculus? Because that they will shoot themselves in the foot if they're just going to have one physical product that can support their metaverse. Okay.
Wow.
Hillary, we're popping this one up here. This is a big one. All right. For local businesses that are trying to stay in the public mind but not necessarily gain conversions or anything right away, what platform is the recommended starting point? Facebook is more complex. Will Meta become more difficult to ... Let me just get that back here. Will Meta become difficult to navigate for new social media business users? No, I don't think so. I don't think that functionally anything is going to change. Your daily experience with Facebook will not change in the least. And I think that's an important point.
Yeah.
That it's not going to change for, and still, honestly, for most businesses, and again, if you're talking about small business or a local business, when I say small business, I talk about the like classical definition, like to 10,000 employees. So that's a lot of businesses. Facebook and Instagram, Facebook advertising platform is still extremely powerful. You can still use it to gain attention and awareness. And if you don't do it properly, you can really build those relationships there. I wouldn't suggest that a small business go out, buy a bunch of Oculus Rifts and start to play with whatever Meta is going to be releasing as a product. I think that's going to be the foray. I think AR is going to be like the next natural progression for all of this. Geez, here we go again. It's 4:47. That's why I'm saying this. One of the big progressions is, look, there's a progression to get into this full metaverse. One of the biggest ones is augmented reality, right? AR. So like at IKEA, I want to stand in my living room, either use my phone or put on a headset, and I want to see what that new dining room table is going to look like exactly in place, right?
Yeah.
And Wayfair and Amazon and, some of these larger players, they'll be the first ones to adopt this technology. We've actually got a new client coming on board that does custom recycling. They want people to be able to go to their place of work and see what these industrial, bins are going to look like and how they can make them look better. That's the first natural progression. Then you start going down the line into the full metaverse, and I think that's going to be the progression you're going to see. So, I think this is there's a lot of shock and awe here, and obviously, Twitter outrage mobs, and it is what it is. But, the rebrand is that Facebook is no longer encompassing everything the company does. They're breaking it out, and Facebook is still one of the products that they've got, and that's not going to change. So, anyways,
Yeah.
Short story long, as I tend to do from time to time.
Thank you very much for that question.
Yes, it was an awesome question, and thanks, Hillary. Appreciate it. The last one that we're going to cover today before we move on is, again, this was the one I was just looking for, but I got lost in my tabs. Instagram making links in stories. I read this wrong before. First, when I read it, I'm like, Instagram stories available to all accounts. What?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I missed the links part. I'm not sure what I did,
Dan was like, what?
No, I wasn't like, what? I was like, what?
No, you were just like, it's been around. Like, what are you talking about? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stacey, did you want to kind of cover some of the ramifications of this in the social world?
Sure. I'm super happy about this announcement. Prior to this announcement, you had to have an account had to at least have 10,000 followers or actually be verified. And sometimes the verified process took a while. And of course, gaining up to 10,000 followers would take a while. So the usability of, having a story, you couldn't just like hit swipe up to link to a site or a page. You had to, create a Linktree account, drive people, or add a call to action to go to link in bio. It was a pain. In the what. So what's really great about this is that usability wise, if we have, let's say we did like a weekend reading spin on some different stories, people can now just swipe up and it'll take them directly to your blog. Or if you have an e-commerce store, you can show the product in your story, directly swipe up to said store. So I think it's just going to be overall a better user experience. It's going to make it easier for us as marketers to really develop interesting content and, really leverage the power behind stories, which get amazing reach if you do them right. And overall win-win.
And it's going to help. I was going to say after that's done. I was going to say that even for small businesses who obviously cannot always have those 10,000 followers, they're going to make it easier for them to, showcase their products and such.
Well, I think one of the keys for Instagram here, and look, you know what? I've always had this beef with these platforms is stop forcing users to stay, right? I mean, that's a really, from from companies that have such strong capabilities to push out new features and engagement and algorithms that have emotional attraction to people. One of the stupidest things that they do is trying to force people not to put links in because for some reason they may or may not come back. If you've ever used TikTok and gotten down that rabbit hole, and YouTube Shorts is very similar. It's exactly the same. That rabbit hole goes pretty deep.
Yeah, man.
And so forcing this artificial, well, no, you can't post a link here, is really very juvenile, in my opinion. And I think this is the right decision. And I think every social platform should do it. Comments should be able to have links. Bios should be able to have links. Stories should be able to have links. You're not gonna, if someone's constantly just posting links to things, people are gonna get disengaged with the content. It's the very nature of the platform, right? Companies that do it the right way and influencers that do it the right way will take great benefit from being able to easily link people to resources that would be useful in the context. So that's it.
I just found it strange, like Facebook and Instagram and all these big platforms that have such a problem with people leaving, when it's like you have millions of people every day on your platforms. You're not going to have a problem when a few people, extra people, are not using links. I don't think that's gonna really impact you there.
Every swipe counts, Yvonne.
Yeah,
Every swipe up.
I'm just what I'm saying is, like, there's so many still, like there's so many people that are fighting for that way more than than these bigger ones.
Couldn't agree more. Courtney's saying that as of today, she just did a link in a small account this morning. It is really great. One of the other things that you can do, you can either watch live at the Hive to get all this great news and information. But one of the key things that you can do is after an earnings announcement, go listen to the highlights. Typically, journalists will do this for you. There's a lot of information given up about what's performing, what's not performing, what the direction is, what they want to do. And Stacey already mentioned this before, but stories and reels really are where the growth is happening. So if you're looking to increase your reach and you have a smaller account, yes, do your news feed. But secondly, really start to use stories. If it was a business, I'd probably lean more towards stories personally, but you could do reels or stories, whichever fits in your context most effectively.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do it.
Anytime there's any kind of potential silence, I will just turn on the sound effects. Okay. All right, here we are again. Jeez, it's 4:54. This is turning into a news show, isn't it?
Time flies when we're having fun.
Let's go.
Fun.
We'll do like we did last week and just rapid fire this bad.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Here we go. And Black Friday strategies. How do small businesses compete? So just a couple of quick things. Hillary's saying mad fun. I was actually going to change. I was going to change my online kind of moniker to MetaDan. And my kid said, do not do that. So apparently, I've crossed over the you are not cool.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I'll put out the red carpet for you. I can't tell you how many times I get, that's so cringy.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is. All right. So BFCM is on its way. We're about to enter the holiday rush. This year is slated to be, according to all predictions, although, you hear hyperinflation and everything, this will be probably one of the busiest Christmas seasons around. They're predicting about a 20% growth in North America, both Canada and the US. People are ready to spend now. And it's your opportunity, especially with coming out of lockdowns. I think there's a huge push that people really do want to support local businesses over the major ones. So if you're not there, they will shop at Amazon. But if you are there and you can do it, you should take advantage of this right now. Okay. So we're going to talk about how small businesses can compete in a pretty busy world, how you create value, some of the different tactics you can use, and how you can avoid discounting. And there's free, in quotes, drivers' responses. We'll get into that. So, we'll look at a bunch of different ways that we can compete as smaller businesses. And the first one that I'll cover here is item number 1 is create bundles, and create bundles of perceived value. And when I say that, this is the avoidance of discounting. So when you create a bundle and you have got a core product and you can pack in perceived value versus discounting, so upselling on the perceived value, ebooks, which have very little cost because you're not physically printing anything, or you could in fact print those things at a very low cost, bundling all of those values into partnerships, what you can get is in fact a much smaller discount and a higher perceived value. Okay, so you can see the one example here from a previous campaign that we crafted was this in fact had a $7.99 and a $38 recipe book, in addition to the value of $29.99 for a smaller version of a product. It was just a different variant of the product. The core product was in fact the $147 product. I am not sharing my screen, of course I am not. There we go. There we go. You can see that in the top right now is that the $29.99, $7.99, and $38 came in at a total cost well below that. So the $199, in fact, is not a discount, right? We were able to then discount from there, plus a 6-month subscription to the Dollar Workout Club. There's a lot of value packed in that. That is the biggest strategy is that you, or tactic, it's both. The biggest tactic that you can implement is value-added bundles and upsells with the perceived value. So something that your consumer will really want, really care about, or helps to enable. So in this particular case, this product was a ketogenic drink supplement, but that also goes with having to modify your diet. So the cookbook is totally on point, and people are trying to lose weight. So a workout club as well. All of that is how you, in fact, use that product. So it's high value proposition for those customers.
And you always want to make sure that you're bundling things that work with each other, or else it really won't make sense for people to buy one thing, and if they don't even want the other, they're more likely not going to. So make sure it's always something that people would definitely want together versus separate.
Another point is there's a reason why when you go to the LCBO, they have the magazine, because I'm getting to the point.
I was
It
just gonna
shows
say,
you-
is that like you're on your daily to-do list?
Potentially. But
For those of you not in our lovely province, that is the Liquor Control Board of
Yes.
Ontario.
So when you go there, though, they offer you a free magazine. And you think, oh, why do I want this? But if you get it, it'll show you different drink ideas. And the example that Dan was showing with the cheese recipe book, maybe they have red pepper cheese. And you're thinking in your head, why would I ever buy that? How would I ever use it? Well, it shows you how. So there's value there. So now you didn't only just get them with the bundle, but you've got them maybe coming back as a customer to, I'm going to try that recipe. I'm going to try that out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing too, and this feeds into a lot of persona development that we've talked about in the past, is understanding the why of your customer is how you can create these value-added bundles. Because if you understand the motivation for your product or your service, and you understand that, okay, I'll use another quick example before we move on, but let's say there's a company that actually does garage refinishing, and that's a very real thing. For me, that's a huge deal. Do I want like an epoxy floor with a really nice built-in that can put everything away and it'll look beautiful and everything else? Well, what are those things that motivate me is, how to organize my garage, which has been a 13-year battle that I consistently lose on a regular basis. Anybody with a house and a home understands that pain. So, there's lots of things around that for a certain demographic where Yvonne would be different. Probably Stacy and I are more similar.
We just did ours.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Maybe I have a house.
Anyhow, that's another really good example is looking at, okay, what are the kinds of checklists and tools and tips and videos and things I can do. You know, maybe I want to turn my garage into an extra living space, right? Where are the ideas for that? And that, you know, the final product is the service and the installation and the product, but what gets you there is a very different thing. Okay. So I just want to cover April's, and I'll hand this over, this next one, upsell, cross-sell, and auto pay to Yvonne. A lot of people want to support local businesses this holiday over big stores. I think that's becoming a sentiment for sure. It has been a sentiment. Now a great time to plan your strategy using these great tactics. You know, oh, April, stop it. Tactics.
April, the light behind Dan's not only pink, he's blushing.
Yeah. I haven't blushed in 40 years. All right, moving right along over to you, Yvonne.
Sure.
For a couple more strategies on upsell, cross-sell, and auto pay.
Yeah, so a lot of people always have things in their cart, right? But they don't really know if they want to, you know, go through with it, or if that just, you want to kind of make sure that they can get a little bit more out of it. So there's always the upselling and cross-selling options, right? You want to give them something that they can't refuse. So like as you see here in the examples that we have provided, would you like to supersize that? That way you're upselling it to them. So you want them to, you kind of want to show them what they can have. Oh, hello. what they can get versus what they have. So you kind of want to, because like sometimes things that you have in there, maybe you want to expand on, or maybe you want to get better. Yeah. Sorry, that was it. And then you've got let me just, and you've got the cross-selling too as well. So making that a combo here, and the example is making it a combo. So you've got the one thing, but what if you added this with it that would then make it even better, or that works with the product that you already have. So you know when it's with food wise, it'd be a combo, but it could be, again, to the bundles would actually work here as well too, because you're going to be buying hairspray, or buying whatever goes with hairspray. Can't think of it right now, but am I? Yeah, that's it. Is anyone else have something?
Yeah, like a hairbrush. No, sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging like that. I was just on
Hairs.
mute. I didn't mute myself.
God.
Yeah, no, I think the upsell is a natural fit. The cross-sell is an important one for anybody doing e-commerce. On the cross-sell, you can get very, very creative with it. And if you have a high ticket priced item, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, the consumables that are complementary to your product are extremely important at that point. So whether it's a filter, or whether it's something part of the product, but adjacent to the product. So just as an example, this is a good one. So let's say you are selling a 2-pound bag of coffee. Well, why not suggest a light roast and a dark roast, right? And then also maybe you want a Bodum, or maybe you want a cool double-walled glass coffee mug to go along with it. At Christmas, that's a great sale, because what you can then do is you can then actually turn that, and we've done this in the past. I did this too many years ago when I owned an actual retail store, was we would actually just make all of the baskets so someone could go, I don't know what to get for Aunt Edna. Oh, look, this is perfect. I don't even have to wrap it. It's like done and ready to go. And you can give the beauty of like Shopify or WooCommerce or BigCommerce and any of these other ones is you've got the ability to create multiple variations and versions so people can customize that. It's important to think that way. In that.
I think too, it's important to understand how consumer behavior in itself works. So if I only buy a 1-pound bag of coffee, but now I've been upselled to 2 pounds or 5, I'm probably going to use that coffee for a longer period of time, which will probably inherently make me more accustomed to preferring that kind of coffee and wanting to come back for more. If I do the cross-sell piece, maybe I'm introduced to a new way of brewing my coffee that actually makes it taste better. So I'm more likely to come back again. So it's understanding that motivator and how you can get them hooked onto what you're actually trying to get them to buy.
Yeah. Another quick one on this is if you've ever seen the website Polybore, it is a fashion website where you can put outfits together. And brands will go in there and put their entire line in there. And in terms of that, you can So, if you're selling clothing or jewelry, anything related to that, having polyvore ideas to go side by side is a great way to do it as well. We got a comment here from Hillary is on fuego today. Even in the service industry, electrical work, for example, if you're already getting the hot tub wired in, might as well throw in a patio light receptacle to sweeten the customer's experience and land higher customer satisfaction. 100%.
Boom.
Like, absolutely. And those are the types of cross sells that people won't think of if you don't guide them there, right? So it's incumbent upon the business to make sure that the options are there, available, ready, and easy to get. All right, Yvonne, over to you on our friend, my favorite thing in the world.
Woo. Yeah, so one thing you definitely want to do, especially for Black Friday or even before that, really is have a subscription / auto pay, which is great because for those recurring payments. So something you do want to consider though when you do that, is you want to make it secure, right? So you've got a lot of clients' personal data there, so that's always an important thing. One thing that is actually really great to have, and why subscription auto pay is the reason you should really go for it, is convenience, right? It's got that lowering friction, and it makes it so you don't have to, with a subscription auto pay, people will more likely come back, or more likely to, especially with a subscription, continue with your products. And then when you also want to be able to market to your customers, right? So you want to let them know that they can use it. So however you want to do that, through email or through text message, was a great way as well. Just letting them know that they can do that, and maybe offer something behind those subscriptions. And then again, providing those incentives to your clients as well, to get them into doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think autopay has somewhat of a bad rep because there have been MLM companies in the past. Sorry, Yvonne. Let me take the spotlight off of you there. But subscriptions are very well, like when you do this, Stripe is a really great option because they support pretty much every major credit card in North America, Europe, South America. So you've got that reach, you can process properly. And Stripe does give all of the security that you need. Continue to provide value, give your customers a portal where they can manage their subscription, and you're going to have a winner. You can, because of a reduced manual labor effort, you can then offer discounts, which makes sense for you as a business owner, because when you have that subscription in effect, you create your recurring revenue, and you're giving value for that subscription. Don't just ask somebody to subscribe without giving them a benefit or a value and something for them in order to have that subscription. Okay. Next up here, we're going to start rapid firing. So we're getting to that time of day. Exclusive promo codes. Now, promo codes are nothing new. Coupon codes are nothing new. But like with everything in digital marketing, I think one of the most important things to keep in mind is it's not what you do. And I've had this conversation so many times over the years. People say, yeah, you know what? We did like a bunch of YouTube videos, none of it worked. We did an email, none of it worked. We tried Facebook advertising, none of it worked. And the problem is that there's nuance to these things. Just because you do it doesn't mean you're doing it well or properly. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. But the reality is that a promo code in and of itself is not the solution. How you implement that promo code is important. You need scarcity. You need urgency. Just saying 10% off for joining our newsletter, like, okay, thanks. But, the reality is, hey, have only 400. Like, set your sales target, double it, and give out that many promo codes. Have a countdown timer on your website that says, hey, 280 of these are gone, and they're going to expire on this date at midnight, right? Mm-hmm. You can actually set promo codes if you want to do a new deal every hour is aggressive. I like it. If you've got the resources to do it, a new deal every day for a week is another way to get around. You go to Amazon, you're always going to be fighting the value game, right? You're never going to, and honestly, you're never going to win it. That's just the reality of it, right? Mm-hmm. And the problem there is, okay, so now you don't try to fight the downward spiral, but if you have different varying offers that rotate through, right, on a time limited way you're going to get people's attention if you have an engaged audience. Group discounts, kind of like Groupon, to get 4 or 5 people to activate. That still does work. It especially works for smaller businesses, because in that case, what you're doing is you're making your customers your marketers, and that's what you want to do. So the promo code concept in and of itself is not the solution. How you implement it, test it, and are able to get people's attention, that's the key.
Yeah, because people, they respond to the fear of missing out, or they respond to the idea of being special or exclusive. Like, this is just for me. Awesome. Okay. I'm already going to like you. It's like, when someone compliments you, you're not going to be like, oh, I don't like that. Like, you've been flattered. So
Yep.
carry on.
Yeah. And like we've talked about before, perceived value drives action. The last one I think is really super important that we can talk about as we wrap this up today. And it's cheesy because you hear it all the time. Surprise and delight.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
People like that. So I'll give you an example of one of my favorite brands is called Field Notes. I think I've talked about them before. They're awesome for one simple reason. Do you guys know Field Notes? Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't heard this one.
I'll cue it up here.
We're waiting with anticipation.
They make notebooks. Little tiny notebooks.
Oh,
Sometimes
really?
they make bigger notebooks. They
Oh,
make
cool.
little notebooks. Bespoke, handcrafted. They're really cool. I have a ton of these things. I got hooked
Learning
into
new
it.
things about you every day, Dan.
Hey, I love stuff like this.
I wouldn't think you would. I think you'd be more like digitized everything. So this is interesting.
No,
to me.
no. I have like an Ernest Hemingway side of me that wants an old typewriter, a bottle of whiskey,
No
and a box of
way.
cigarettes, and like slamming
Cool.
away at an old. Yeah. I have that side of me here. But just look at this, right? So this brand launched, I don't know when, a while ago, and they make these things. You feel like you're Indiana Jones. You got your little Field Notes books. And you can put it in your pocket and you start writing it down. And they're really cool. Like graphed, ruled, plain, and mixed, right? Totally cool. It's got a very old school, iconic feel to it. $9.95 for 4 of these little notebooks. And when you buy from them, so I bought a bunch of these, and I'll show you some other ways. And these guys are a really great example of surprise and delight. You place an order, I think it was the second or third order that I got. I got a handwritten note and a free wall calendar. And when I opened it up, it was like, they're like, hey, congratulations on your third order. We hope you like this. And it was a little wall. It's just a little wall calendar. It's really cool. It's like very retro 1940s, 1930s style, right? But they've baked surprise and delight into their entire brand. Okay. Look at this. It's like these guys are doing everything we're talking about. And I think this is the key. Create a year-long subscription, because if you love these little notebooks, you're going to get a whole bunch, right? 10% off, free shipping in the USA, subscriber exclusives, save over $40. Surprises are only surprises if we don't tell you about them. These guys have baked this. This company has baked this right into their brand and into their operations, and that's kind of what I'm referring to here. But if you look at some of this here, so that's the first, that they surprise and delight, but they do truly understand their audience. And tell me, official National Parks Exploration Vehicle transfer decal. They've got a National Parks one. They've got, where did the Dungeons and Dragons, there it is. Notebooks for role-playing. They've taken the concept of notebooks, which are typically go to Walmart, pick up your steno pad, call it a day.
Yeah.
And they've turned it into an experience.
This is super cool. I know.
Oh, I mean, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, this means something to you.
Yeah.
Right?
I know a certain 16-year-old, they'd probably really dig this stuff.
And the thing is, just as a pro tip, if you're struggling for something to get people, these are really good. I really they're great gifts, because if you know someone that's a gamer into role playing, you buy them this very thoughtful gift, right? And they're beautiful and they look cool. On the surface, there's absolutely nothing to a notebook, but they've managed to build this thing in such a way that there's something for everybody. For gardeners, there's one for the home that has, you know, mechanical, electrical, outdoor garden, a whole little box. So you can scribble your notes so you know which one it's in. So anyways, short story long again, they're a great example of a lot of the things we're talking baked into what seems to be a fairly boring product, and they've created excitement around it. And I think that's what any business can do with the right amount of attention.
I love that. I'm so glad you told us about it.
Mm.
I was holding back that cough for a while.
I bet.
All right. So it has been another successful Live at the Hive. Hopefully that gives you some ideas, some tactics. If you have any more questions, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, our website, drop a comment. Happy to answer any questions or field any ideas you may have. Those are just some of the tactics you can implement for your Black Friday, Cyber Monday efforts, so you can get have a really successful holiday season with time to take advantage of it, because this is going to be a big one. And hopefully every small business that can take advantage of it is able to do so.
Good luck out there.
Right on. And Yvonne, are you going do you go trick or treating still?
No. No way. That's way past now. No.
I've seen some kids.
I would do it if like it wasn't.
Yeah. As a joke. I will be out on Sunday evening with my children, supervising them. We've got, what do I have? Evangeline, 2.5, is going to be a princess because her big sister Mila is Dorothy.
Aww.
I've got a ninja, and Death. It's my oldest, Death.
Oh, nice.
The character, Death.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Stacey's paused.
Like, how do I respond to that?
Yeah, we did drop the ball a little bit. We should have had a spooky Halloween background, but you know what? Maybe we'll do one for next week.
I mean, why not?
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining us for episode 202 of Live at the Hive Digital Marketing from the Trenches. Have yourself a safe, happy, and for kids, prosperous, lots of candy Halloween.
Yeah. And send some our way.
Yeah.
Send some our way. Well, I'm a parent, so you got to watch I'm not a huge fan of traditional late night TV, but I do like the one where I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, where they take videos of their parents telling their kids that they stole their candy and get their reactions.
I've seen that. It's good.
Yes. It's pretty classic.
I would do that.
It's funny. Some of them are heartbreaking and the parents are savage. But it's great to watch. It's good times. All right, everyone. Hillary, April, Brandon, everybody that was on, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Same B time, same B channel.
Peace.